which makes you feel more and more greedy, further and further greedy, unsatiable position. That has to be tackled, he says. Trishna nadi saratara pravaha grasta akhila ananda padartha jata tadastha santosha suvriksha mula nikasha daksha vahadiha loke taranti matanga ghatatarangam ranam buddhim ye mayitena shuraha shurastayevehamanastarangam dehendriyam bodhim imam taranti. These are two verses from Yoga Vasishtha Ramayana. Rama, at the age of 16, got immensely despondent after a pilgrimage he undertook in our land, Bharat. He was so depressed by seeing whatever he saw that he lost all his interest in life. He refused to take bath. He refused to go to the parents and prostrate before them. The news came to be known by Vasishtha, and Vasishtha understood that he was suffering from dispassion, Vairagya. And for Vairagya, the only redress is Atma Jnana, the supreme Jnana. So he called Rama and asked him, "My dear son, what is troubling you? What is the torment that you are carrying in your mind?" So Rama started speaking. Now the first portion of Yoga Vasishtha Ramayana goes by the name Vairagya Prakarana. And there are many things there. One particular portion called Jagat Dosha Prakasha. He explains how many evils and defects are there in the world. He analyzes the human personality. He also speaks about how the mind and the intelligence are constituted in a human being, how troublesome they are. And when he is dealing with Trishna, greed, this is what he has to say. Trishna nadi saharatara pravaha grasta khila ananda padartha jata tatastha santosha suvriksha mula nikasha daksha vahadiha loke. You know, it's a very beautiful verse. The simile is very beautiful. You have to spend a little time to understand it. We have a mind, and the mind is supposed to be given to moderate thoughts, even moderate desires. Desire is a part of life, especially for the youngsters. But this desire should not be allowed to become a greed, a powerful greed. It is like small, moderate fire you keep in the kitchen. Suppose the same fire started blazing forth in an uncontrollable manner, it will burn the entire residence. Exactly so is the case of the mind and the desire. As long as it is a moderate desire, which can be tackled and pursued and fulfilled, it's okay. But the moment the desire is allowed to grow, to become a powerful greed, it will destroy the very body. And he likens it with the flow of a river. Trishna nadi saratara pravaha grasta khila ananda padartha jata. Where is this Trishna? It is inside our body, in the mind. It is just like a river flowing on the broad land. See, earth is very huge and the river is very narrow. Somewhere from the top of the mountain, the river starts flowing. And when it flows, gradually it becomes deep, maybe a little deeper and broader. But you will find much more than the width of the river is the width of land on both sides. As long as it flows in a limited manner, natural manner, there is no problem. But suppose the flow becomes very powerful, torrential, then you will find it starts taking both the banks in large quantities. Suppose there are trees there, fruitful trees and flowery trees, all of them will be uprooted and the huge current will take them all along. In the same manner happens to our mind also. As long as it is a narrow river flowing beautifully, people can live on both the sides, use the water for bathing. They can also have water for agricultural purposes. Everything is all right. Suppose there is flood in the river, the adjacent lands will be completely covered and the entire crop will be finished and all the trees will be blown off. This is what happens. So he has beautifully illustrated it. Trishna nadi saharatara pravaha. Suppose it becomes a powerful flow. That flow attacks both the shores, uproots the trees. Akhila Ananda Padartha Jata. These are the trees on which Ananda fruits are growing. Now the fruits will not be available to you. The trees will be uprooted and taken away. So all the Ananda, the enjoyment and satisfaction that you propose to have in your life will be totally uprooted and destroyed, provided your mind develops greed in place of desire. Tatastha Santosha Suvriksha Mula Nikasha Dakshavahadiha Loke. In the human world, this is what happens. One Duryodhana became intolerant of the Pandavas. One Duryodhana became intolerant of the Pandavas. It was just an intolerance and greed arising in the personal mind of the Duryodhana. It started brewing there, growing there. It involved the entire Kaurava group. Gradually that got extended. Finally he got 11 Akshauhinis of warriors from the whole of the Bharat to support him. And in the 18-day war on the Kurukshetra, all of them fell dead. Only because of the greed of Duryodhana, nothing else. Where did this powerful flow take place, transpire? Within the body of Duryodhana. And see how much destruction it brought about. Taranti matanga ghatatarangam ranam budhim ye mayitena shuraha shurastayeveha manastarangam dehendriyam bodhimimam taranti. So he says, control of the mind, moderating the desires, avoiding and safeguarding against greed. This is what is required. So Rama comes up with this beautiful proposition. Taranti matanga ghatatarangam ranam budhim ye mayi tena shuraha. Those valorous fighters who are able to fight in the external battlefield, attacking even elephants, horses, human beings and the others. Those people are not really the heroes. They are not valorous. The valorous and the heroic are those, on the other hand, Shurastayeveha manastarangam dehendriyam bodhimimam tarandi. Those who are able to overcome the huge breakers and waves arising from the waves of the mind, the breakers of the mind. And this mind produces these waves and breakers in the ocean, which is the ocean. Dehendriyam bodhimimam tarandi. Our body with the senses, together with the senses, constitute the ocean. And our mind is roaring in the form of waves and breakers. Unless we are able to control these roaring waves of the mind inside the ocean of the body, they will not be heroic at all. See, Valmiki Maharshi has written this Yoga Vasishtha Ramayana, and he is giving a war language, a war heroic language to describing the need for mind control. Taranti matanga ghatatarangam ranam budhim ye mayitena shuraha shurastayeveha manastarangam dehendriyam bodhimimam taranti. Now we come back to Vamana responding to whatever Beli Chakravarti did and said. Yadrichayopapannena santushto vartade sukham nasantushtaha tribhirlogaihi ajitatmopasaditai. Ajitatma asantushtaha upasadidaihi tribhihi logaihi na sukham vartade. See, here are two people. One is a man contented in his heart and mind. Another is, he is not contented. Compare the two and contrast the two. Yadrichaya upapannena santushto vartade sukham. The man who is happy with whatever providence brings before him, chance brings before him, he is quite happy. He has no expectation, no desire, nothing to hanker after. And whatever nature brings, providence brings, chance brings, he is happy with that. That is what the python is doing. The python doesn't look for anything. Whatever it gets in the natural course, it gulps in and keeps quiet. It is very contented. It never hunts its prey. The prey comes to its mouth by itself. Yadrichayopapannena santushto vartade sukham nasantushtaha. On the other hand, the man who lacks contentment, he is discontented in his heart. Tribhir lokaihi ajitatmopasaditaihi. With a lot of effort, he may amass a number of things, a lot of wealth. Even then, if he is discontented, he will not be having any peace or quiet. What more do you want? Are we not discussing the character, the nature, the potential and the possibility of the human mind? You have to philosophize yourself. You are having a mind. Contentment belongs to it. Any kind of a joy is emotional in character. And emotions are a birthright, a prerogative of the mind. You can have many things, but still your mind may suffer from sorrow. It may not be joyous. You may have a few things, but the mind can still be joyous. Now here Vamana says, I shall be superbly contented with the 3 feet of earth I get from you. I don't want anything more. Pumsoyam samsrider heduhu asantosho arthakamayoho yadruchayopapannena santosho muktaye smrdaha. Pumsoyam samsrider heduhu asantosho arthakamayoho. For a human being, the entire worldliness results from asantosha, discontent in the mind. That lack of contentment in the mind is responsible for the continuation of worldly life. People start taking janma after janma, janma after janma. In all the janmas we are eating, we are seeing, we are hearing, we are touching, we are smelling, we are enjoying the same sensory objects. And this has been going on for janmas. Even then, our attitude is not different. Even now we are greedy, we are possessive. So it is arthakamayoho asantosha. We are not satisfied with wealth. We are not satisfied with gratification of desires. Because of this insatiable tendency, we are suffering. Yadruchayopapannena santosho muktaye smrdaha. Suppose you develop the habit and the culture, the refinement, the superb note of contentment. By whatever you get, then you will find muktaye smrdaha. You get liberation, redemption. So the bondage is worked by the mind in the form of discontent and greed. The liberation is also wrought by the mind in the form of contentment and poise. See, the whole thing is reduced to the mind. Yadrucha labhadushtasya tejo viprasya vardhade. You identify me as a Brahmin, an youngster Brahmin. Understand, yadrucha labhadushtasya tejo viprasya vardhade. For the Brahmana, his brilliance goes on increasing, provided he develops the habit, refinement and moderation of taking to whatever arrives by chance and he is delighted over them. Then his brilliance, spiritual brilliance grows. Tat prashamyatya asantoshad ambhase vashushukkshanihi. Asantosha jalam ashushukkshanihi. See, the fire, very huge fire, the moment you pour water, it will be put out or extinguished. Tat prashamyati asantoshad. Whatever santosha or contentment one has, a Brahmana has, by virtue of his orienting to live after yadrishigada, providence and chance, the same thing is completely destroyed, just like pouring water into fire, completely put out. So I am not going to budge an inch from what I asked for. I don't want anything more. Yadrucha labhadushtasya tejo viprasya vardhade tat prashamyatya asantoshad ambhase vashushukkshinihi. Tasmat trini padanyeva vrinetvat varadarshabhad etavadaiva siddhoham vittam yavat prayojanam. Tasmad trini padanyeva vrinetvat varadarshabhad. My dear king, I agree, I also adore. What? That you are a great giver. And luckily, you have a lot to give. You are the only Ishvara of the 3 worlds. That is so far as you are concerned. But I am the seeker here. And I have to determine how much I will take. Tasmad trini padanyeva. I want only the 3 feet of earth from you. however much you are prepared to give. Etavadaiva siddhoham. By the 3 feet of earth having given by you, siddhoham. Listen to my words, siddhoham. I will become an attained man. I have got all that I want in life. I am becoming self-attained by that. Vittam yavat prayojanam. You should seek either a loan or a free gift from another person when in your dire need. When you don't have enough to meet your resources, then alone you take loan or seek help. While seeking so, never ask for more. Never ask for more. How many times shall I repeat this word? You should never ask for more. Only that much as you need, to meet the emergent requirement. Etavadaiva siddhoham vittam yavat prayojanam. These 2 words, vittam yavat prayojanam, it is a cultural tenet that we have. Money should be sought, help should be sought only to the extent necessary, not more. Shankaracharya has composed a Bhajagovindam Mohamudgaram. In that, the 2nd verse is very prominent. Mudhajahi dhanagama trishnam kurusad buddhim manasi vitrishnam yellabhase nija karmopatam vittam tena vinodaya chittam bhaja govindam bhaja govindam bhaja govindam mudhamade. Shankaracharya was addressing a Vedic scholar who was learning grammar, sitting in Benares in front of a temple. He has become very old, his hair has become grey, the skin has become wrinkled. Still he is going on learning grammar. So looking at him, he is saying, what is it that you are doing? You are going to die in a few years, and many months it may be. Mudhajahi dhanagama trishnam. You still want to sell your grammar and make money? Get away from it. Jahihi, abandon. Dhanagama trishnam. The greed for money, avoid it. Kuru sad buddhim manasi vitrishnam. Let your intelligence work, think properly about the inmost soul, which is Satchidananda, blissful, incarnate. Abandon your greed for wealth. Manasi vitrishnam. Foster dispassion. Dispassion is the wealth of the mind. Passion is the discontent of the mind. In dispassion lies the contentment, joy and fulfillment of the mind. Yallabhase nija karmopatam. Whatever one gets out of the normal profession or pursuit that he has, be satisfied with that. Never look for more. Bring the regulation in your own mind and you will find it directly and instantly makes you joyous. Vittam tena vinodaya chittam. We have different types of employees, different types of profession. Each profession is associated with a certain remuneration or income. All people are not equal. Never compare yourself with so many others. What you get from your company or profession, be satisfied. The state government salaries are lesser than the central government's for the same job. It is so. If you are a central government employee, X will be the salary. If you are a state government employee, X minus will be your salary. Never compare terms. Be happy with whatever you have. Our mind can be trained. And can there be any end? If it is external income that you are pinning your aim in, it can never end. So this is something very important. Now, you may wonder, Swamiji, you are saying all these things, but is it possible for this to be practiced in the modern world, where we are in the midst of so many attractions, allurements, comparisons, contrasts and compulsions? I can say yes. This is an instance which was reported in Vicharasetu, our magazine. It transpired in my absence in Narayana-ashrama Tapovanam in the ashram. You know, help seekers used to come. Now also they come to the ashram. Whenever they come here, I have always made it a point, myself and also through others, whoever comes, we should call them, ask them, what is it that they are wanting? What is their need? Why they have come? So we have to be a lot considerate to them. In our ashram, mostly guests invitedly and uninvitedly also come. They are all seekers, they want our association. They are given accommodation here and they go to the dining hall 3, 4 or 5 times a day. They are fed. They also have satsang in the specified hours. But in our ashram, help seekers also come. So I tell the inmates of the ashram, as fervently and fondly we will receive guest seekers and devotees, in the same manner we should be disposed to, we should be interested in the help seekers when they arrive. Don't keep them waiting for a long time. Call me or call the others and get them treated properly. So this happened in my absence. A very ill-looking beggar came here. He was a help seeker, not a beggar. So he came here and he was looking for the people here. I was not here. So Maji came to know that somebody has come. She came out and saw. And there was a conversation. After looking at him, Ma decided to give him 10 rupees. So she brought 10 rupees and gave it to him. Then the man who came, he started speaking. See, I was coming here by chance. Somewhere in the village, I was told by somebody, you go to the ashram, there is an ashram there. There is a Swamiji, there is a Maji, there are others also. They will look into your requirement and possibly your need will be met from there. So somebody directed me, so I have come. You have given me 10 rupees, but I want 30 rupees. What for? There is a hospital in Calicut where I will get free treatment. I am suffering now. I have hardly any strength to reach there, but I shall travel by train. So only if you give me 30 rupees, it will serve my purpose. Nothing short of it. So can you give me 30? Coming to know that, Ma got another 30 rupees and gave it to him. While giving, she also brought a bed sheet and a towel. So with 30 rupees with a bed sheet and a towel, Ma gave it to him. He extended his hand and he received it and he was very happy. He walked a few steps and came backward, saying that, I don't know, my dear mother, whether I will come here again to see you. He was looking up and looking down and praising God, saying that the directions the villagers gave, they have proven to be good. I have got in a kindly manner. I have got whatever requirement I have to make the travel and get treated. So I am very happy, very happy. I thank you. I don't know whether I will come here again at all. So I am expressing my gratitude right now. I will travel using this money. I will have my treatment. So I am very happy, very happy. When he expressed all these things, Ma looked at his feet and she found that he was wearing unsymmetrical chappals. The 2 chappals were not symmetrical, they were different sizes. He was wearing it in a very shabby manner. So Ma said, why don't you come here? I will give you an umbrella and also a pair of chappals. You know what this man said? No, I don't want. I have already got what I wanted. I don't want anything more. I have been walking with these chappals. I have to walk maybe a little more before I get into a bus and reach the Trichur railway station. I will go from there. In the condition in which I am and the status I have, I don't require anything more at all. He refused to receive the umbrella and the chappal. Ma also had taken some, the Kerala Nentrapanam, as we call it, the Kerala plantain, the Tiruvonam plantain. That also was there in her hand. So he refused all the 3 items, the umbrella, the chappal, and also the plantain, big plantain fruit, and he went away. Now, Ma was very much touched. Ma seems to have told him that Swamiji is not here. If Swamiji were here, he could have inquired into your needs, etc., because he could speak Malayalam better, I don't know, and he would have given you much more. This also Ma had apparently said. Now, but this was the response of that man. Now, this is something that happened here in our ashram, and maybe 1 year back also. Now, what we are discussing here in Srimad Bhagavatam, you tell me, is it a practical proposition or is it only an imaginary discussion? I would like you to answer this question. Anything that is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, in so far as it relates to the mind and the intelligence, they are absolutely true, practicable and realizable. They can be pursued by anyone. So Vamana, the young celibate, he concludes to say, Tasmat trini padanyeva vrinetvad paradarshabhad etavadaiva siddhoham vittam yavat prayojanam. Vittam yavat prayojanam. When we seek money in the form of loan or as a free gift from another, make sure that you restrict your demand to the minimum that you need, not more than that. Vittam yavat prayojanam. So I don't need anything more than the 3 feet, he said. Sri Shugavaja ityuktaha sa hasannaha vanchitam pratigrihyadam vamanaya mahim datum jagraha khajalabhajanam. Mahabali decided, there is no point in talking to this guest anymore. Every time he speaks more excellently than I can, and I get defeated mentally. I have the feeling that I have enough and I want to give. In giving, I find a delight, contentment. Maybe I am a greedy person so far as giving is concerned. But here I am facing a seeker who is not prepared to budge an inch from his original demand of 3 feet of earth from me. So let me accept my defeat, and I accept his glory.